Hey guys, and welcome back to Mika Reaction Reviews, where reacting review to things on the internet, same day, same shirt, different video. Oh my god, I'm so sweaty. This isn't lactation, but this is just sweat. Ignore it, it's not there, it's not there. It's just so freaking hot here. There, I fixed it, you can't see it. Anyway guys, I'm not changing my shirt, there's no point, I'm just gonna sweat in it. Anyway guys, we are gonna be reacting to Sowell. Alright, you might hear some singing outside. I'm not gonna stop the video because I don't know when I'm gonna stop singing. I think there's some sort of ceremonial singing going out. If you can hear it, I don't know if you can, but if you can, just try to ignore it, block it out along with the sweaty shirt. We're gonna react to a video that is titled Sowell thinks drugs should be legalized, which I thought this video might be interested because like when I think of drugs and legalization, I don't think Sowell, because I think Sowell leans a bit more conservative at least. And so when I saw this title, I was like, okay, I wanna see what the man has to say because I too think drugs should be legalized. But we'll get into my reasons a little later on in the video. Alright, so we'll get right into it, but before you do, if you like this type of videos, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get your notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to get us like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below and links to all the alternative platforms I'm on, all my socials, and all the ways to contact me for business and support me is always in the links down below. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, here we go.
If at first you don't succeed, try again, and then give up. Don't be a damn fool about it. W.C. Fields' wisecrack contained a lot of wisdom. Nowhere does it apply more than in the crusade against drugs. Drug raids are good politics, but they don't make a dent in the problem. The federal government seizure of cocaine are 6 times what they were just a few years ago. But the flood of cocaine into the country has continued to be so massive as to drive down the price. A variety of drugs are for sale within a mile of the Drug Enforcement Administration's headquarters in Washington. The ban on drugs has become prohibition writ large. Like prohibition, the ban on drugs has been a financial bonanza for organized crime, and its profits have financed the corruption of law enforcement agencies, politicians, and judges. Drugs can be hideous things, and those who push drugs are slimy and poisonous. But let us not forget that a similar case was made against alcohol and bootleggers many years ago. Tens of thousands of lives are still lost each year to drunk driving alone. That doesn't count the other lives destroyed or dehumanized under the influence of the bottle. If drugs and alcohol had never been discovered, this would be a lot better world. But it is a dangerous illusion that we have the omnipotence to undo every evil. The crusading mentality can easily make things worse. Drugs are inherently a problem for the individual who takes them, but they are a much bigger problem for society, precisely because they are illegal. It is their illegality that makes them costly and drives people to desperation to get the money by any means at anybody else's expense. The mere cost of production of drugs can be very inexpensive. If an addict could support his addiction for a few dollars a week, he would still be an addict, but he would not have to steal, mug, or kill other people to support his habit. Neither would drug pushers have the financial incentive to try to get children hooked on drugs if there was no big money in it.
Okay, wow. I never ever saw it that way. When I think about the legalization of drugs, that was never something that played on my mind of like, well, if you legalize drugs, then the price of drugs will go down, and then yes, people will still do it and people will still be addicts. However, they won't rob their own parents and mug women off the streets and steal from businesses and commit even more heinous crimes to try to afford those drugs. And then the cartel themselves wouldn't be incentivized to push drugs as much as they could if there was no big payout in the end. Also, I think and I think you hit on this, if you legalize drugs, then that takes the power out of the cartel's hands. and it also takes the power out of corrupted relationships between cartel and politicians. Because trust me, I feel like if politicians really wanted to get the cartel to stop, I feel like they could, but I feel like it's too much of a financial incentive for them to allow the drugs to keep coming into the country and getting paid off and staying silent with a bribe. I think there'll be a lot more sex trafficking and just people and just human trafficking period if the cartel wasn't financially incentivized, or if they didn't have so much financial backing because the drugs are so expensive or the price of drugs are so high, because the price doesn't stop people from doing it. Have you ever watched Intervention and like they show you like, oh, this person spends $1,000 a day on heroin, but they like sleep on the streets, and you're like, how the hell? Like, how do you manage to make $1,000 a day? My personal reasons why I think drugs should be legalized is A, because I don't think it's the government's right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your body, what you can and cannot put in your body. And I also don't think it's the government's job to protect you from yourself. I think if you want to hurt yourself, you can hurt yourself. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. I know I have a lot of conservatives who follow me on that, but I will never grift for the benefit of you liking me. I would always be honest about my stance on things, so you know when I say something, I'm honest about it, and I'm not just saying it because it's the popular, trendy, grifty thing to say at the time. I personally don't see all drugs as equal, and I don't think that if, you know, what he said, like if drugs were never introduced to society, the society would be better. I think it depends on what drugs, because things like weed and marijuana and mushrooms have always been around since biblical times. But I don't consider those things to be drugs. I don't consider things that pop out of the ground to be drugs. I consider those things are put there for a purpose, whether you think it's good or bad. And personally, like, I don't have an issue with people doing drugs. If you ask me for my advice on what about drugs, I think is a horrible, bad idea to habitually, continuously, constantly, and perpetually do drugs, because it's bad for your health, it's bad for your life, it's bad for your mentality, and it's bad for the people around your community and your society. However, I don't think there's any issue if people do it casually once in a while as sort of a relaxation thing or a party thing or a holiday thing. I think that's totally fine, and I think there's no right to tell anyone to tell what they can do and not do with their body. I don't put every substance on the same playing field. Like, I personally don't like alcohol, and I think alcohol is the devil. Like, I've seen people literally physically change on alcohol, like possessed on alcohol. I haven't seen anybody do the same thing when they smoke weed or take a shroomy or take a tab. Like, I just don't think it's all on the same level. I think things like meth and crack is like completely different. I'm not saying that people should be shamed differently depending on what they're taking, but I just don't think it's all on the same playing field. So I don't know what he means by drug. I think a lot of people, when they say drugs, they mean anything that's illegal. Alcohol is legal, and I think it's the worst. I think it's the devil. However, I don't think I want alcohol to ever be illegal. I think people should be allowed to do what they want, because again, if you make it illegal, it doesn't stop people from getting it. Even when it was prohibition, people still got alcohol. It just makes it more corrupted, and it makes the people pushing those things and pushing those substances richer, because now since it's harder and it's more scarcity, people can raise the price of those things. And again, raising the price don't stop addicts from getting it. It doesn't stop it from getting into communities. The war on drugs have been long lost a long time ago. So if it's not working, then what are we doing wrong? Places like, I believe, Portugal, I could be wrong about this. If I'm wrong, I'll put it on the screen, but I think Portugal made all drugs legal, and they didn't fall into a drug-ridden cesspool shithole. Like, they're still thriving, and they're taking that money that they save from prison systems and stuff like that into drug rehab centers. And I say that because I think the idea of people think, oh, if you legalize drugs, then everyone's just going to become a druggie. I think Portugal is a good example of that, because they were actually having a really bad issue. There was a big drug problem in Portugal at some point. People were dying, people were getting killed, murdered, the prison systems were getting filled up, and so they just legalized drugs, and a lot of those problems went away, and they're still a functioning society. And so I don't think if you legalize drugs, the society is just going to collapse and everyone's just going to indulge themselves 24/7, because like I don't think that's everyone's character. That's not everyone's personality trait. For me personally, I have grass in my house right now, and it's drying up and just sitting there because I don't have that personality. I don't have that character to want to constantly be high all the time. Not everyone's built that way. And so anyway, I think I've been talking long enough. We're going to get back to Thomas Sowell.
Crusaders cannot accept the fact that they are not God, that they have neither the right nor the competence to run other people's lives. The years that preceded Prohibition saw private citizens take the law into their own hands, entering saloons with axes to destroy bottles of liquor. It was ego-boosting, moral exhibitionism. When the Crusaders finally succeeded in getting the Prohibition Amendment added to the U.S. Constitution, it was their crowning triumph and the nation's tragedy.
I like that word he just said, that phrase, moral exhibitionism. We've seen that happen in the last 2 years where people felt like they had the moral righteous high ground to yell at you, to demonize you, to dehumanize you, to attack you, to get in your face, to spit on you, because this new law, this new mandate was put into place and I'm following, so I'm a better person than you. And I like that he said that, because that shit happens. And it's the same thing when people I know people that literally drink on a regular basis, sometimes heavily, but if you smoke weed, you're a lowlife. It's like, how do you think you have the moral high ground here? Oh, because alcohol is legal. All right, get it. All right, let's continue.
Organized crime blossomed. So did the corruption of the whole political process. When national prohibition ended, many localities passed their own bans on liquor. Bootleggers sometimes financed the campaigns to ban liquor. Their profits depended on liquors being illegal. Legalization of narcotics would similarly destroy the profits of today's drug pushers. There is no way that they can compete with drugs that can be mass-produced cheaply by big pharmaceutical companies.
This is very, very true. This is that whole idea of once you gain power, people do not want to give that power up. Power is addicting. Why do you think people were so upset when certain mandates were dropped, or you don't have to wear the face covering anymore on the plane? People were literally so upset about that, and it was less to do with I'm scared I'm gonna get sick. It's more to do with fuck, I don't have that power anymore. I can't yell at you anymore. I can't make you feel like a piece of shit anymore. Damn it, like I liked having that power over somebody. And again, I agree, it takes the power away from the cartels, it takes the power from the politicians. I don't necessarily want the power to be put in the hands of the pharmaceutical companies, but places like, California, Colorado, what happens is that the shrooms or weed, it gets localized. It becomes locally farmed, and it's basically farmed to shelf, and that's where it comes from. So your drug pusher down the street loses his power or his access, because now we can just go over there to the shop, and the farm around the way is the ones that grew these shrooms or grew this weed or something like that. And let me make it really clear, I don't think being a drug addict is healthy. I don't think being a fanatic or again habitually doing drugs is healthy, and I definitely think there are some drugs that are literally the devil. And it doesn't mean if I believe drugs should be legalized, it does not mean I don't think it shouldn't be regulated. I think if it's legalized, it should be very much regulated. Anyway, let's continue.
This is not a complete solution. Nowhere is it written in stone that there are always answers in the back of the book. What we can do as a society is to cut our losses. It is bad enough that some people destroy their own lives with drugs. We don't need to add vast numbers of innocent victims who are robbed, mugged, or murdered by addicts trying to get money for a fix. Like alcohol, drugs can be regulated for content, age required for purchasing, driving under the influence, etc. But this is just one more area where we have to recognize that government has its limits. Ignoring those limits is not only reckless arrogance, but dangerous. We finally learned that painful lesson from Prohibition. We need to remember it when it comes to drugs. November 29th, 1984.
Wow, that was dated. He was beyond his time, like always. Yeah, I've had this argument with someone before. Not an argument, like a debate with this guy that I like. But anyway, and I understood his point of view because his mom was an addict or a substance abuse taker. And I get when people have addicts in their family, they have like a different lived experience, or they usually have like a different point of view when it comes to drug intake and legalizing drugs and stuff like that. And I said, I think people should be allowed to destroy their lives. If that is what you want to do, that is what you're going to do. It's not my job to play Captain Save-A-Hole to everyone, and it's not the government's job to do the same thing. As long as you're not hurting anybody, including your children, then do what you want to do. Do you understand the overwhelming relapse rate when it comes to rehabilitation, when it comes to drugs? It's in over 80% or something like that. It's a high relapse rate. Some people will ultimately just die addicts. And that's not to shame them. It's not to say their life is less worthy, that they don't deserve rights or respect. I'm just saying that that is just some people's plight in life. That is some people's path, and there's nothing you can do to save them. Let them just live their lives. And his argument was like, no, I think the government should help people protect each other. Like, no, I think that's your community's job. If you're an addict or you're destroying your life, hopefully you have people who love you, who want to support you, your family, your friends, your community, that will intervene and try to help you the best way they can without enabling you. But even sometimes they have to step away. I had a friend who had terminal cancer. He was gonna die. Like, there was nothing to do about it. And granted, he was an addict before he had cancer. And maybe you can argue that being an addict has something to do with it. However, he was like, I'm gonna die of cancer. Therefore, why would I give up my addiction? That's the only thing that's sort of easing my pain of me slowly killing myself and also slowly dying of the disease. And he was a heroin addict. He didn't steal, he didn't rob, he didn't bother anyone. He had a job, he was an artist, he sold his art pieces, he made jewelry, very masculine metal jewelry, like rocker jewelry. And he paid for his own issues, his own vices, and he paid for his own way in life and his own living. For me, it's like, I'm not gonna judge that person, I'm not gonna demonize that person, because he's not hurting anyone but himself. He hasn't robbed anyone, he hasn't stolen from anyone, he is keeping to himself, has a job, he's paying his sales tax. Like, what else do you want from him? If he wants to go out that way, then that's the way he wants to go out. Who am I to play God and say, like, no, like, you must live this way? Like, I understand when it comes to society, it's not great for society. That's why I think there should be more rehabilitation centers, and not the ones like in San Francisco where they just pass out free drugs and needles and give you a safe space to shoot up. I'm not talking about that type of rehabilitation center. I think real rehabilitation centers, and also maybe reform the ones we do have, because I don't think they're efficient if they have such a high relapse rate anyway. I think therapies like using shrooms, psychedelics, DMT, peyote, like a lot of these rehab centers in like Mexico and these other places who've had great success of using other chemicals to help break that chemical dependence on drugs has really helped people. So we need to look more into that. But if we keep demonizing those things, then it's less likely for that to happen. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation. Let me know what you guys think about what he said, what I said. Do you think drugs should be legal, or do you think that is batshit crazy? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle, or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.